He slammed the folder onto my desk, so hard the pen rolled off the edge. "I need the money by tomorrow," he barked. "800,000. Your sister's debt. No excuses." He said it like he was ordering a drink, like I hadn't already given him enough. I stared at the man who called himself my father. The creased suit, the cold eyes, that same sharp-set authority he'd worn all my life. Arms crossed, posture rigid, waiting for me to obey. I smiled a small, steady smile. "Okay." He took that single word as surrender. But right then, I decided he'd never get another thing from me again. 4 hours later, I was at the airport. My father was the kind of man who mistook control for love. He built an empire from intimidation, and our family was just another piece of his property. My sister, Claire, was his favorite. Spoiled, fragile, reckless, but adored. Every mistake she made, I cleaned up. Every debt, every lie, every broken promise. Because I was the responsible one, the fixer. He used to tell me, "You're stronger than her. That's why you handle things." I believed him once, until I realized handling things meant sacrificing myself so they could keep their comfort. I still remember the first time I saw who he truly was. I was 17, standing outside his office, listening as he told Claire he'd pay for her tuition by taking money from my college fund. He didn't even hesitate, didn't even look my way, though he knew I was there. That was the moment I stopped being his son and became a solution. So when he dropped that file on my desk yesterday, it was déjà vu, same tone, same arrogance. Only this time, I wasn't 17. Inside the folder, Claire's latest disaster. A failed investment. Debts under her name, but his signature everywhere. He'd made sure it was legally mine to fix. $800,000. He called it family duty. I call it the final straw. That night, I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I sat at my desk and read every line, every number. And I realized something. He had no idea how much I'd learned from him. Years of watching him manipulate people had taught me more than he'd ever intended. I knew his habits, his weaknesses, his secrets. And I knew exactly how to destroy him without ever touching him. By morning, I'd moved every cent from my accounts into an offshore one under a name he'd never heard. Then I cleared the house. Not my belongings, his. Every watch, ledger, flash drive he'd left behind. I placed them all into a wooden box. At the bottom, I added one last thing. A USB drive containing every record of his corruption, falsified contracts, hidden shell companies, offshore transfers, tax evasion. He'd taught me to keep records. I had. The box was heavy when I set it down in the center of the living room. On the lid, I taped an envelope sealed in red wax. "For you," I wrote on the front. At 9:15 a.m., I left for the airport. No message, no note, just silence. By noon, I was in the air, watching the city fade beneath the clouds. Freedom felt strange at first. Too light, too quiet. Back home, he would be arriving soon, expecting me to hand him cash. Instead, he'd find a locked house, a quiet room, and that box. I could picture it perfectly. His impatient knocking. The muttered curse as he noticed the box. The greed in his eyes as he assumed it was full of money. Then the silence when he opened it. No cash, just paperwork, stacks of it, detailing every one of his crimes. And on top, the note. "You said I owed you everything I am. So here's everything I know. You taught me power. Now feel it." I didn't have to imagine what came next. An hour later, my phone lit up with missed calls. Then messages, rage first, then panic, then desperation. He didn't understand how I'd gotten those files. He didn't know I'd been documenting him for years. Every illegal deal, every hidden transfer, every fraud he'd ever called family business. The government had another name for it. Financial misconduct. I'd already sent anonymous copies of everything to the authorities. That box wasn't just revenge. It was evidence. By sunset, the headlines broke. His name everywhere. Investigations launched. Assets frozen. The empire he'd built on fear collapsing around him. And me. I was standing on a balcony in Lisbon, watching the river shimmer gold beneath the fading light. He was finally learning what it felt like to lose something he thought he owned. People think revenge is about fire and fury, but the most exquisite revenge is silence, the kind that leaves them screaming into a void that no longer answers. He screamed when he opened that box because he realized too late. I'd never been his obedient son. I'd been a student, and he'd taught me too well. When I turned off my phone for the last time, I felt nothing but peace. No anger, no guilt, just quiet, pure, unshakable calm.